Hello, welcome to Spring Forest Qigong's Healing Heart Wisdom series. I'm Glenn Tobey, your guest interviewer today. Today we have a special guest, which I'll introduce in a second or two. But this Heart Wisdom series is an opportunity for various levels of involvement of practitioners and teachers and healers in the Spring Forest Qigong family. It's always amazing to hear how people have views on life that are so incredibly profound and intriguing. And Tom is certainly not anything short of that. So Tom Sanderlin is a certified instructor. And the title that he's picked for today's conversation is Living the Life of a Spring Forest Qigong Healer in the Modern World. You know, I've known Tom for maybe 10 years or more, and really have found him to be such a compassionate, and thoughtful, and a genuine individual, really easy to be with and to hear information. And I'm sure he's going to convey that same kind of impression and connection with you as well. So, Tom, I was wondering maybe if you could say a few things about yourself, and then we'll kind of roll through this conversation about the lifestyle. Tom.
Okay, thank you very much, Glenn. I'm a certified healer and trainer and practice group leader, and I've been practicing Spring Forest Qigong since about 2014, and been on the professional path since 2017, so I've been at it for a while, and that's the main thing I have to say about myself.
Well, Tom, could you clarify, maybe talk a little bit, how come you picked the title that we have now about living the life? And where did you get that? And then maybe a little bit, what is a lifestyle, a way of life?
Well, the first thing I'm going to say is wow. And why am I going to say wow? Because I'm still like a kid in the candy store with this Spring Forest Qigong. And to me, it's pretty amazing, kind of a miracle that we really have this ability, and we have lost it or forgotten it over the centuries, that we can heal ourselves. And I'm just have been so fascinated with it. And in spite of the fact that I've been doing healings for like 7 years, 6 or 7 years, what I find is that I'm still learning new things every day. It's quite amazing, and I love to share it, and I love to teach it. I like to see the amazement on people's faces when they make discoveries for themselves. So that's where I came from with this.
So what is it like when you talk about living the life of a Spring Forest Qigong healer? What is the, living the life? Are you trapped up in a corner room and you only have what does it look like? How would people recognizing that you are living the life of a Spring Forest Qigong healer?
Well, when I said healer, I didn't necessarily mean a certified healer, because all of us are healers, right? And so what I noticed is that along the way, actually I was sitting and contemplating ways that I have made changes that I've seen in myself and with the people around me who I do this with over the years. And it's pretty amazing. So what does that consist of, I guess, is a question. And I like to describe it in terms of at least the first 3 levels, the Qi activation, and then the training, and then advanced healing. And I think in the beginning, at least for me, you learn a lot of terminology in the first course. And I think a lot of it is kind of, yeah, I understand that. And it's one thing to hear a definition in an intellectual sense, but to really have a deeper meaning of it really takes practicing. And when you do the practice, that is when the magic begins to happen. And so, for example, what I'll mention is this business of I'm in the universe is in my body, the universe and I combine together. It's a fairly vanilla statement. And I think in the beginning, I just kind of took it, okay. So I'm tapping into the universe, and I'm tapping into really unconditional love. That was explained in the very beginning. But then by the time you get to level 2 and level 3, and you've been doing this, and you find out this is a real important key to having powerful healings, is tapping into this feeling and tapping into the master's energy. That took quite a while for me because it's like, well, who is this guy? I don't know this guy. And I kind of kept him at arm's length, and he was there, and I invited him in. And I realized after talking to several people who seemed to have it at a different level than I did, this is a real relationship that you have with this master. It's like a conversational kind of relationship, and you can depend on it and ask questions and get answers, and it's really a remarkable thing.
So I hear, Tom, I hear that as you're studying those first 3 courses now of Master Lin's teaching, that this idea of a lifestyle or a way of life didn't come on suddenly. It was like gradually you began to learn things, and then, practice things. And as you practice and learn, you got different insights and different awarenesses that then shaped maybe how you thought of things, and then, then it altered your life. So could you speak a little bit how it kind of altered your life? And then we'll get on to really what it is to be a healer.
Okay. I guess looking back, what I noticed is, so we do the movements, we do the meditations, and we do the movements. But then what I find is over a period of time, they have much more power. They have much more power than I ever could have imagined in the beginning. I sometimes communicate with people by just taking the head and taking it to the heart and connecting heart to heart, and by conveying this sense of unconditional love or a sense of healing or a sense of peace. I found you can have a lot of influence in a lot of places without having to make a lecture. It's really amazing. So the connection to people, I find, much stronger, and it becomes both ways when you communicate on this deeper level from the heart level. And the first time I understood it at all was level 4. I'm a combat veteran, and you just close down in combat and never open up totally. You open up little pieces to people, and all of a sudden I'm sitting in the second row, and there are the 4 monks. And the one in front of me is the one with the deep voice. And he's doing this chant, and I just felt my whole chest and my heart vibrating, and I felt it open up, and I was almost in tears. I was ready to get up and run out of the room, but I had people on both sides. And I stopped chanting and pulled myself in, but it was the first time that I really felt in a deep way what that meant. And as time went on from there, I learned to be able to do that on a regular basis with people around me. It's amazing.
Yeah. So what I hear from you too is that, with your combat experience, with the closing down, the fear and the threat, that's not the only impact for Spring Forest Qigong. Everyone has a history. Everyone has experiences in their life. And so then, as you're saying, in a conversation with the monks, it wasn't so much they said something to you, it was that vibration that you allowed to come in, the vibration that tends to balance yourself. And if that's what we're talking about as we move into a conversation about healer and healing, it really is then about what are the ways in which in all of our lives that we can have a lifestyle where the energy, the vibration in our body is more, at balance and stuff. So could you speak to the idea about healing and this idea of balancing the energy, inside either both inside yourself, but in another?
I noticed in the very beginning when I did the standard Qigong healing method that the person I did that with, and this is in the beginning when I really didn't have a lot of confidence in it, but I was trying it on new people. The first person I did, it was almost like they went into a trance state. They just went into this relaxed place. And I was thinking to myself at the time, well, this isn't hypnotism or anything. I mean, what is this? And just to come into this place of total relaxation. And in the beginning, I could say, oh, no, I didn't do it every day. And when you think about doing it every day, the first thing people think, oh, well, I don't have 45 minutes to do this every day. My goodness, who's got the time to do that? But what you find is it doesn't take 45 minutes. But when you can take yourself into this place or into this feeling and just do it, like every morning I get up and I will spend some time, even if I'm going somewhere and doing something. If I can spend 10 minutes just getting into this place of quiet and peace, when I go out into the world and come from this place of peace, the world is a whole different place. And over a period of time, it just brings this sense of calmness. You mentioned it in level 5, 2020, of comparing how it was like being up in an airplane at 30,000 feet and looking down and seeing the world in a bigger way. And that in the beginning, you pull away and you see it from a distance. But then after you practice, and this was level 5, and what happens is you learn to bring that place, that seeing things in a bigger way at a distance, even if you're down there in the swamp fighting the alligators. Now, you may not be spending a lot of time meditating when you're down there, but you understand that this is part of something else. That's what I mean. I think you're talking now really about the lifestyle change inside you. Now you have a different kind of awareness that's more. You talk about like getting to that place, but it sounds like that calmness, that peacefulness is with you more and more easily accessible than trying to conjure up the mist and get the lightning going and get all the stuff going. That the access, the way of life access is much easier, much simpler, and maybe perhaps more powerful inside you, so that your confidence and your connection to others is genuine and real. Well, you have described it perfectly. So thank you.
Well, I have listened to you. I've listened to you well then. Yeah.
You as well, yes. And in the beginning, it might just be, well, I felt good when I did the practice, and particularly if you're in a group. And if I feel calmer and better. I mean, I have people in my practice group who tell me, well, when I get out of your practice group, out of your class, I go there and everything's brighter. And of course, everybody doesn't have the same reaction all the time. But yeah, it's that getting to this place of calmness and this feeling of connection. And I mentioned the heart opening. I don't think I knew what unconditional love was, except a concept. But when you actually begin feeling it, and then, of course, when you're doing healings on people, that's where you heal from if you want to do powerful healings from that place. And so it just becomes more and more a part of who you are. And even at the levels, let's say level 1, 2, and 3, you get glimpses of it. And it's just the more you do it, the more that's what you become. So it's a beautiful experience.
Yeah,
And
you keep
I
mentioning
think,
this idea of a place, like when you're doing healings on people. I'd like you to describe that in a minute or two. But when you do healings on others, what is that place that you're talking about? When you get to this place, could you describe that in a way?
yes, it's the place of no thought, the place between thoughts where um, you're in the, I was going to say the void, but not the void. You're in the place, the emptiness. So you're just in this place of quiet and solitude, and it's actually a feeling. So you're capturing this feeling and able to bring that into yourself. And it's a place in consciousness. It's not a place. So it's going into that different consciousness where you've got that connection to the universe or to the master. And I was familiar. I've been probably meditating since I was 30, in my early 30s. And when I heard about, bringing in the master, it was a very foreign kind of a concept. But when you're doing this in a Qigong way, it's different than a normal meditation where you're just being in this quietness. It's, you're actually doing something there, and you're sending healing, and you're detecting what's going on with people. And it's just not the same if you're doing this in our normal busy mind and you can go through the motions, and you can get some effect, but it's not the same as if you go into the.
So I hear you a little bit talking about detecting. So, and then the emptiness and the stillness. So it is kind of a place. So if I'm going to try to detect, pick up the energy in someone else, it's really hard to do if I'm listening to heavy metal music and I'm doing three other things. It really is getting your mind to be able to focus, quiet down, to be kind of in a stillness, uh, uh, without the mind thinking so much. In order, like in the detecting, it's beginning to feel, like the energy in someone else. And that the more the
Mm-hmm.
mind is occupied with thinking it through, then I'm not feeling it, feeling the energy in someone else in order to help understand what is going on in this person in terms of needing to help them in their balance. So that it is a process of learning the lifestyle, a process of learning how to quiet down inside you in order to connect better with that person who's requesting, healing in your services.
Mm-hmm. And that is also when you go out in the world in various situations and you have people who are upset and things going on. And when you can keep yourself quiet and calm, a lot of times you can calm situations that you wouldn't think it might have an effect on. But just by you carrying this sense of calmness with you, um, in some ways it's a powerful feeling that you can have that kind of effect on people, situations. And it isn't like
So that's what I mean. It's not
Go ahead.
magical in one way, but that's what I mean about the idea of being a Qigong healer. There is something about their presence, that their calmness has an influence just by itself because of the work that like you have done, calming down, doing the movements that help in balancing the energy, doing the meditation that helps you connect with things. All that in your, the chi activation course and the developing a healer, a more powerful healer. All those courses teach you really how to be more and more yourself, but in a really a powerful and focused and purposeful way. And with that purpose,
Yeah.
then, then your energy is directed toward what that person may be needing as well. It sounds like you really have kind of mastered that well.
Well, we'll see. I feel like it's a continual learning process. This whole thing of being a healer, whether it's a certified healer or just any kind of a healer. That when you're being a healer towards your friends and your family, and so.
So let me ask you, Tom. Let me ask you about what's your understanding of what healing is? You know, when I say, Tom, I need some healing, and then you would respond by saying, what? So what is a healing?
Well, it's using Qigong techniques in order to help people feel better, either physically or emotionally or spiritually. And actually, it's all three, whether you want them or not. It works on all of those levels, which is why it makes such a wonderful adjunct to the medical healings we get, because they're not working in those emotional and spiritual ways. And when you heal as those spiritual and levels and emotional levels at the same time you're doing the other healing, a lot of times healing takes place much, much faster and much, sometimes more thoroughly. And I think it takes all.
Go ahead, Tom.
Go ahead. I think the healing.
I just want. So my thought had been like, I might come to you with a physical need, but my healing might need to come on an emotional level, or my healing might need to come on a spiritual level, and that my difficulty is showing up on the physical level, but actually the healing needs to be deeper, so to speak. Is that your understanding as well?
That's my understanding as well. And it's people aren't always making a choice like, well, I want you to heal me emotionally. They might not even be thinking about that, but it just all of a sudden comes, not all of a sudden, but through the healing process, that begins to happen. I know where I've done healings on somebody more than once, or maybe a series of healings, I often had people say, I think I'm getting more spiritual. I've had several, a lot of people say something to that effect in one way or another, that all of a sudden they're seeing things in different ways than they did before. And even they're seeing their own illness in a different way. That oftentimes the illness brings us understandings, and by having the emotional healing as part of it, I know when I was younger, I used to get a lot of upper respiratory infections, and every summer, every year, spring, I'd get the upper respiratory things from the pollen, and then if I was unlucky, I would go to the chest and I would end up on antibiotics and all of that stuff. And I haven't had that in years. And a lot of that, what I realized, a lot of that was there was also an emotional component of it, where I was disappointed in something in my life, and it just all made a combination that was toxic to me, and I didn't realize all that part of it. And while learning the Spring Forest, I've heard Master Lin say that every illness has an emotional part to it. And I could have said intellectually, well, I guess that could be, but I don't know. But I mean, I really see it almost on a daily basis, if not in myself, on people I'm working with. And when they get a better handle on that, sometimes things go away permanently instead of coming back every year.
Yeah, so when
For
we
example.
so when we talk about healing and vibrations and things like that, then we get to understand that emotions are actually a vibration. And so depending upon the
Yeah.
emotion we have, let's say if I have the emotion of anger, it's not just I'm mad or I'm angry at something. No, I'm creating a vibration in my body that the vibration is going to have an impact on my body. And then the
Hmm.
impact the anger might have, in what I understand, is the impact of kind of uncontrolled anger then affects the liver system. So it may show up, my anger then may show up in my liver system having difficulty working well. So
Hmm.
working on the anger, the vibration of anger, reducing that vibration is a form of healing, because then the physical side of that in the liver system, for example, then that begins to get balanced out. And then, as you said, then maybe people have a higher understanding. Oh, it's not just the liver problem. Oh, it's an anger problem. Oh, if it's an anger problem, maybe it's because I'm angry at the world. Maybe my spiritual connection is not doing well. Oh, I'm starting to understand things better from a 40 or 30,000 foot level. Oh, I'm less angry. Oh, now my liver system feels better, even though you may not have directed everything just toward the liver. So that's what I hear
Hmm.
you saying about, connecting with people on all those levels, and that most people only understand kind of that physical level as a dilemma. What's your thoughts on
Well,
that vibration?
mhm. uh, well, I see that over and over again, where anger or depression or um, disappointments, those kinds of things, they they really do affect us emotionally. And maybe a little of it is okay, but sometimes we get into really self-destructive patterns, because that's the way we become. That's the way we always are. We're snapping at people about something or other, because we're not happy with our life and our job and this and that and the other. And so the illness then becomes a messenger to us to let us know there's something in our life that we're not uh, addressing, and it's teaching us to, oh, I'm this way, and I need to make some changes the way I'm appearing in the world, and just change the way I'm going about, the way I'm acting about certain things.
So
So
Master
yes.
Lin, Master Lin has this phrase about the vision: everyone is born a healer.
Mhm.
So then if everyone is born a healer, then it's taking a look at what is the lifestyle. If I'm born a healer, what is my lifestyle of a healer? If that's something that I'm born with, then how do I activate that thing in me, that healerness in me, in order to help myself, but also be of aid to my family, to my friends, or to the community at large? So what's your identity, Tom, when you think of yourself as a healer?
Oh wow. Um, so when I think of myself as a healer, it has a lot to do with what is my purpose here in the world, and that's part of what we go through in Qigong training is learning to look at that in ourselves and why am I here on the planet? And if I'm in various, that sometimes changes depending on your circumstances and what's going on at the time, but uh, I would like to think I'm here to make a positive difference where I can. And I think that's been a shift for me because I'm less concerned about, oh, yes, you still have financial things to worry about, and members in the family are sick or this or that, and all of these things that come at you in life. It's just part of life. Um, but on the other hand, when you understand why you're here, it's so much easier to make decisions because you don't get sucked into trying to please everybody about everything because you realize what your function is. And I need to be doing this right now. And you can say that to people, and it's not in an offensive way, but you become much more having to be at odds with yourself about should I do this or should do that, because I know why I'm here. And so, yeah, I got to take care of that.
So having that purpose, how do I make a difference in people's lives, helps you with a better focus internally, a kind of different mindset, and then a different intent. Well, my intent is to be as much help as I can be with someone else, so then the lifestyle, the way of life of a healer then is having that purpose, so that your intent and your focus are lined up, your mindset is clear, it's not distracted, by other kind of things, that it is heart-centered.
It is heart-centered, and I think you're also become more focused on giving. And I realize when I'm giving, I am more satisfied in myself. I am more comfortable and not worried about whether I'm happy or not happy, because I become happy because what I see, I'm able to do in the world and the way I can help people.
You mentioned a while ago about getting more confidence in yourself. I've heard from other people who are healers or certified healers, they feel more confident inside themselves walking about the world because they know they have these skills, these ability to help other people. So it's like when someone is in danger, you know how to use the small universe. When this is happening, you know how to use the sword fingers, these techniques and tools. Kind of like you're more equipped to engage yourself with the suffering of other people. Is that a feeling that you have?
I agree with that totally. There's some also, when you let this spill over in other parts of your life, I'm going to give you a rather funny example that may sound silly, and I don't mean to trivialize it. But one of the things and I don't remember which level it was in, but Master Lin taught us that if you close your eyes and you let yourself move and feel which direction you're the most comfortable in for picking which way you face in the world for your practice. And that works very well. But do you know, if you go to the big box store with your wife and she wanders off someplace and you don't know where she is, you can use the same technique. You just picture where she is, picture her, and then you just move. And you can do it without even closing your eyes. Just kind of look down and get in this relaxed state. And she's over there. Well, she didn't say she was going to look for linens today, but you go over there and there she is. So it just becomes so second nature. It's a way of being. It's not just,
right.
Well, I got to do this 5-minute exercise every day. And the purpose of the meditation, that I think people don't realize in the beginning, as I did not, is that it teaches you to absolutely focus at a deeper level. It also teaches you visualization. And so when you're visualizing something for a healing purpose, it gets stronger and stronger. And in the beginning, I know I didn't think I was that good at it. But as you do it more and more, it just affects who you are.
I think that's what I was hinting at, Tom. It's not like, for those who may be new to Qigong, there's some 3 individual and beginning courses, a Qi activation, and one for developing healers, and then more strong healers. But the idea in the practicing, learning the movements and practicing the meditations and stuff, it does give you not just a technique, as if you have someone come to you, sit down, you're going to work with them with this tool of sword fingers. Next, like a healer is next. It's like you're saying everywhere you go, your system is open to greater awareness of things. Like, where is my life? Oh, I'm going to use this intuitiveness that I'm developing in the stillness or in the emptiness. the more I connect with how the energy flows, like with one person, I begin to connect with how the energy flows in a larger scheme, so that I can detect, so to speak, where is my wife, or what is going on, with this situation out over here. That you become more aware of deeper things, the way the world works. Is that what you found for
Yes,
yourself, Tom?
that is what I found for
So the
myself. Yes, and I find that for people who are I'm teaching and people who are going on. I have several people in level 3 now that have come through, and I've got a couple of people who become healers, and it's just exciting to see their growth. And it's interesting to see different people are maybe healers for different reasons, and we all have different strengths. I know one young lady, when I first, we were doing a sword finger demonstration in level 1, and it was like, this woman's got stronger. this woman's energy is stronger than mine in some ways. So I don't know. I'm just enjoying the process. I'm enjoying seeing people grow, seeing people make discoveries, and I love it when we do this thing with the hands back and forth and put your attention on the hands. And I remember when you first did that. Well, I'm not sure I'm feeling anything at all, and then after a while, wow, it feels like I got gloves on. What is this? And to think, well, that's chi, and to think how many years we went through life not even knowing about it. And not only is it an energy, it's an energy with intelligence. It's an energy that does the healing. It's the intelligence that allows your body to be able to kick in and do the heal itself.
So I hear you a little bit with the techniques and the training. You're sort of helping to activate the chi in the other person or within yourself. It's not you producing, the magic from sword fingers or some electrodes attached to your fingers. You're really activating what's already in your body, what's already in the other person's body, their chi. And that chi, knows, it's got the intelligence. It knows what to do and it knows where to go. And so when you activate
Yes.
that chi, it's a form of the healing process to activate the chi. It's the chi that does the healing in a way that you kind of step back a little bit. Is that
Well,
your
it
observation?
takes the healer, and it takes the client or the patient, whatever you call them. And by them doing the practice, they are learning to raise their chi. But what the healer's doing is actually allowing them to raise their chi even higher. And so that's where the healer comes in. Of they're helping them. It takes both people. It takes the person being healed, and it takes the healer for the healing to take place. And of course, it takes this force from the outside, the chi. And this I've heard one of the masters talk about. He looks at the chi the same way, similar to the way he looks at a master. This chi has intelligence, and he has a relationship with it. And then you learn, let's say in level 2, you can actually project this energy. And that's another thing of, oh yeah, I can hear the words that, oh yeah, well, when you do the sword fingers and if you practice this, you'll be able to project more and stronger energy and blah, 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 blah. We started doing the meditations. And one night I wasn't sleeping, I got up and I was doing a 3-day fast. And I had done it several times before. And I said, well, I'm just going to do some of the exercises. And I was looking in a dim mirror and I could see my aura. And I could do sword fingers, and I could see that sword go off in the distance. And I actually imagined I wanted it to go to a certain place. And by Jove, if that energy didn't go up and make a big loop and come down. And to see it was like, wow. So that's where I'm still like a little kid, because I'm still making those discoveries where, well, these are things I've been told, but wow, they're really true. The chi
Yes.
does
So
exist. And
if you put that deliberateness to work, if you say to somebody who lives, 500 miles away from you, like a friend or a relative, and you say, "Oh, I love you, Mary. I love you, Bob." Does your loving, saying that you love that person, does it reach across 500 miles?
it
And
does indeed.
it does indeed. So the idea of, helping people at a distance is that same kind of intent, the mindset, and directing my energy and picking up what's going on with that person 500 miles away. Looks like that person's struggling with, something in their body. I can do this from the distance of 5 feet or 500 miles. That's where it gets to be a little freaky for some people to say, how does that work?
This,
What's going on here?
yeah, this has got to be fake. That can't possibly be real, but it is. And then COVID came along, and I started doing more distance healings, almost all distance healings. And what amazed me, I did it on people who really weren't familiar with Spring Forest that much, and I never have had anybody who didn't say they didn't feel the healing. They could feel the energy. And I've got people in Massachusetts, California, and here or there, somebody in Scotland. And yeah, it's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing.
Well, I appreciate your comments, Tom. And I hope those who are listening in or watching, if you haven't practiced Spring Forest Qigong, or when we're talking about these courses, then go to the springforestqigong.com website just to look at the coursework that you could take, understand when Tom is talking about these certain movements or these sword fingers, these kind of techniques that could be helpful. It'll make a whole lot more sense. But those of you that really are far along that idea about healing and being a healer, it becomes so really quite natural. Like Tom, you said at the beginning, how do I have 45 minutes to practice this? Oh, I'm so busy. Well, we all have the 24 hours. So the course is, how do we want to spend the 24 hours? What do we want to do within those 24 hours? And then we start making those choices. What is really important to us? So, say, Tom, would you be willing to lead us kind of in a closing meditation?
I would love to do that. And so why don't we just get started? Let's take 3 slow, deep, gentle breaths. And you can either close your eyes or look down and put your hands in a comfortable position, and either up or down if you're, particularly if you have high blood pressure or high blood sugar. And begin the slow, deep, gentle breathing. Close your eyes, relax. And let's put a smile on our face. And with each breath, I would like you to see a light in your lower dantian. And notice that light, and notice the feeling of warmth that's there. And feel that warmth. And then in the light, tell the universe what you want. So maybe you have an illness, maybe you have a relationship that you would like to go better. All of those kinds of things are things that you can use these techniques to heal with. And now see the light in your lower dantian. See it getting brighter with each breath. And see the light growing and growing, bigger and bigger. And feel your entire body is enveloped in this light. And now you're feeling that you're actually an energy being, and you're aware that you are in this light of universal unconditional love. And that's what the light represents. And this unconditional love, in this love you feel magnificent and powerful. And you look at the challenges in your life and they're really very, very small in this whole scheme of things. And you can take one of these challenges and you can put it up in the sky like a star and let it be there, but not let it consume your entire life like we sometimes do. So these entire challenges don't deserve all of our attention, but just part of it. And now that you've gotten this feeling of comfort and this feeling of the challenges not being so big, you can feel a sense of peace and serenity and feel that you're connected and feel that you're not alone anymore. And you feel supported in your need in the universe, and you are always in the universe, and you're never left behind. And by releasing yourself like this in the universe and in the light, you're actually dissolving yourself into oneness. So in this place or in this feeling, magic happens, and you release yourself and merge yourself with the light. No more, no less. I've healed myself in the light. I have my enlightening moments, and more enlightening moments come throughout my life. And by releasing myself in the universe, I gain true joy every day and every minute. And I would like that for you too. And it feels so good. And in doing this, you are actually reprogramming yourself for having a more beautiful, joyful, healthy life. So now you can scan your body from head to toe. You have no concerns, no worries. And you can tell yourself, I only have time for happiness and joy. I have no more time for sadness or struggle. And now bring yourself back to the lower dantian and see the light in your lower dantian as an energy ball, and see this ball spinning, spinning, and becoming smaller until it becomes a small, tiny spot of energy, bright, shining, an energy pill that you put in behind the navel in the lower dantian. And that energy will keep you all the day long and help feed your vitality, and your various organ systems can tap into this energy as it needs. So now, take 3 slow, deep, gentle breaths again. Rub your hands together. Rub your face. And rub your ears from top to bottom. Bring yourself back into the room. And I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful week. And thank you, Glenn, for asking me for this, to be here with you today. This has really been a nice discussion. I feel good about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom, for your words and your wisdom and your good-heartedness. And those of you that are listening and gone into the meditation, to think about, that everyone is born a healer, and to see what the healing is. Healing takes time in one sense, on the physical, emotional, and spiritual level. But to be committed to activate that you too are born a healer. So have a good evening. Take care.